Welcome to Always in Our Hearts. I'm John, and today we gather not just to remember, but to honor the lives of extraordinary souls who left an unforgettable mark on this world. Artists, dreamers, legends whose talent, passion, and dedication have touched millions of hearts across generations. Though they may no longer be with us, their legacy continues to live on through their work, their stories, and the love they left behind. Join me as we celebrate their journey because some souls are never forgotten. Eileen Kramer lived an extraordinary life shaped by dance, creativity, and an enduring commitment to artistic expression that lasted well beyond the usual limits of age or expectation. Born in Sydney in 1914, she initially studied music and singing, but her direction changed completely in 1940 after she attended a performance by the Bodenwieser Ballet. The experience had a lasting impact on her, leading her to pursue dance with immediate dedication and eventually join the very company that inspired her. During the 1940s, she toured widely with the Bodenwieser Ballet, performing across Australia and internationally, where she developed a distinctive expressive style influenced by different cultures and artistic traditions. Her career later expanded beyond dance as she lived for decades in Europe and the United States, continuing to evolve as both a performer and a visual artist. This long international period became a defining part of her artistic identity, marked by reinvention and curiosity. Remarkably, she returned to Australia at the age of 99 and remained actively engaged in creative work. Even in advanced age, she collaborated with filmmaker and choreographer Sue Healy on a series of screen-based artistic projects, showing an ongoing commitment to experimentation and expression. She passed away at the age of 110 with no publicly disclosed cause of death. Eileen Kramer is remembered for a life that stretched across more than a century of artistic evolution, defined by resilience, imagination, and a lifelong refusal to stop creating. Van Hammer, born Mark Ty Hildreth, lived a life that moved between discipline, fame, and personal struggle. He was best known for his time in World Championship Wrestling during the 1990s, where his larger-than-life presence made him a memorable figure in a rapidly evolving wrestling era. He passed away at the age of 66, leaving behind a career that fans still recall with a mix of nostalgia and reflection. He was born on November 1st, 1959, in Hebron, and grew up in a structured environment that later led him to serve in the United States Navy. His time in the military helped shape his physical strength, discipline, and mental toughness, qualities that later became part of his wrestling identity. After leaving the Navy, he transitioned into professional wrestling and trained under experienced mentors, learning the fundamentals of performance and in-ring storytelling. He made his debut in the early 1990s and quickly gained attention in WCW for his rock star-inspired persona. With a bold look and energetic style, he stood out during a time when wrestling characters were becoming more theatrical and entertainment-focused. He shared the ring with several well-known performers and built recognition among fans for his unique presentation. As his career progressed, he underwent character changes, including joining Raven's flock, which gave him a darker and more intense role. Like many wrestlers of his era, his career experienced highs and lows, and he eventually stepped away from active competition. Outside the ring, he faced personal difficulties that affected his public image, but his time in wrestling remains part of a distinct and memorable period in the sport's history. Brian Hugget was born on the 18th of November 1936 in Wales and became known as one of the most consistent and respected golfers of his generation. Rather than relying on flash or controversy, he built his reputation through steady performance, discipline, and long-term dedication to the sport. During the 1960s and 1970s, he achieved 16 wins on the European circuit, establishing himself as one of the leading players in continental golf. One of his most successful years came in 1968 when he won the Harry Vardon Trophy, awarded for finishing at the top of the Order of Merit, marking a peak in his professional career. He also represented Great Britain and Ireland in the Ryder Cup 6 times between 1963 and 1975, competing against some of the strongest golfers in the world and recording a balanced individual match record. Later, he served as a non-playing captain in 1977, contributing his experience and leadership to the team. Even after his main professional career, he continued competing in senior golf, adding further titles including the 1998 Senior British Open. Brian Hugget passed away at the age of 87, with his cause of death not publicly disclosed. He is remembered for his consistency, sportsmanship, and long-standing contribution to golf across multiple decades. Don Schlitz was an influential songwriter in modern music, known for storytelling even if his name was less familiar than the artists who sang his work. He passed away at the age of 73 after a sudden illness, leaving behind a lasting legacy built on emotion, storytelling, and timeless lyrics. Born on August 29, 1952 in Durham, he grew up surrounded by Southern culture and family stories that shaped his love for language and narrative. Instead of performing, he gravitated toward writing, later moving to Nashville in his early 20s to pursue songwriting. The journey was not easy, marked by rejection and financial struggle, but he continued refining his craft. His breakthrough came with The Gambler, recorded by Kenny Rogers, which became a hit and defined his reputation as a master storyteller. He went on to write numerous country songs for artists like Randy Travis, Keith Whitley, and Garth Brooks, creating classics such as Forever and Ever Amen and When You Say Nothing at All. His contributions earned him induction into the Country Music Hall of Fame and the Songwriters Hall of Fame. Even with success, he remained humble and connected to intimate songwriting spaces. His work continues to inspire, showing that songs can teach and heal. Douglas Stewart Shehan, born April 27, 1949, was an American actor best known for his steady presence on television and his ability to bring sincerity and warmth to a wide range of roles. He became widely recognized in daytime television through his role as Joe Kelly on General Hospital from 1979 to 1982, a performance that earned him a Daytime Emmy nomination in 1982 and established him as a respected performer in the industry. He later made a successful transition into primetime television, where he gained further popularity as Ben Gibson on Knots Landing. Appearing from 1983 to 1987, he portrayed the second husband of Valine Ewing, a character that became an important part of the show's long-running storyline and emotional core. Shehan continued to show versatility throughout his career, moving between drama and comedy. His work included roles in series such as Day by Day, and he also appeared in Clueless, where he played Mel Horowitz after the role was recast. In addition, he reached younger audiences with his performance as Sabrina's father in Sabrina the Teenage Witch, adding another memorable credit to his career. Douglas Shehan passed away at the age of 75. His exact cause of death has not been publicly disclosed. He is remembered for his consistent television presence and the grounded, relatable characters he brought to life over several decades. Andre Rieu is widely recognized as one of the most influential modern interpreters of classical music, a musician who brought warmth, accessibility, and emotional openness back into a genre often seen as distant or formal. Through his violin and the orchestral world he built, he transformed centuries-old compositions into living experiences shared by massive global audiences. Pieces like the Blue Danube and other beloved waltzes were no longer confined to traditional concert halls. Under his direction, they became part of grand public celebrations where audiences could feel invited rather than intimidated. His performances created an atmosphere where classical music was not observed in silence, but experienced collectively, often with movement, emotion, and joy. What made his approach unique was not simply musical interpretation, but emotional philosophy. He believed music should connect people rather than separate them through formality. This vision helped him bridge a gap between classical tradition and modern audiences, especially those who had never attended a classical concert before. Stadiums filled with thousands of people began to sway, clap, and respond emotionally to music that had once been considered reserved for elite audiences. His success was not immediate acceptance within all classical circles, but it was undeniable in its cultural impact. Andre Rieu's work reshaped how many people around the world experience orchestral music, proving that tradition can evolve without losing its essence, and that emotional accessibility can coexist with artistic depth. Early life and the formation of a musical identity. Andre Rieu's early life was shaped by discipline, structure, and the expectations of a musically strict household. Born into a family where music was both profession and authority, he grew up in an environment where precision was valued above expression. His father, a conductor, maintained a household where order and control were central, and where emotional warmth was often secondary to performance standards. In this environment, music was not simply a form of enjoyment, but a responsibility. Practice was constant, feedback was direct, and perfection was the expectation, rather than the goal. While this upbringing developed technical discipline, it also created emotional distance within the family structure. The home often felt more like a rehearsal space than a place of comfort. Despite this rigidity, Andre developed a deep connection to the violin at an early age. Around the age of 5, he encountered a teacher whose playing introduced him to a different emotional dimension of music, one that felt expressive, warm, and human. This experience marked an important shift in his understanding of sound, transforming music from obligation into emotional language. While formal training emphasized structure, his personal connection to music began to lean toward feeling and expression. This duality, discipline from upbringing and emotional curiosity from experience, became foundational to his later artistic identity. It shaped the tension that would define much of his career. Respect for tradition paired with a desire to make music emotionally alive for audiences. Youth, independence, and the choice of artistic direction. As Andre Rieu grew older, he began to develop his own artistic preferences, which gradually diverged from the strict classical expectations of his upbringing. While he maintained technical excellence, he found himself increasingly drawn to music that emphasized emotion, melody, and connection rather than purely formal presentation. Waltzes and lighter orchestral works became especially meaningful to him because of their expressive accessibility. This shift created tension within his family environment, where traditional expectations of classical seriousness often clashed with his evolving artistic vision. Choosing a more emotionally expressive direction was not merely a stylistic decision. It represented a deeper assertion of individuality. It marked the beginning of his independence as an artist. Eventually, this independence extended beyond music. It became a personal decision to pursue a life guided by artistic intuition rather than strict adherence to inherited expectations. This transition was not easy, as it required stepping away from familiar approval structures and embracing uncertainty. However, it allowed him to begin shaping a musical identity rooted in emotional communication rather than conformity. During this time, personal relationships also became significant sources of stability and encouragement. His partnership with his wife, Marjorie, played an important role in supporting his artistic ambitions. She contributed not only emotional support, but also practical involvement in shaping early career decisions, helping to manage and organized the growing vision he was developing. Together, they began building a foundation for what would eventually become a large-scale orchestral project. This phase of his life marked the beginning of transformation from student of tradition to creator of a new musical experience, building an orchestra and redefining performance. In the late 1970s and 1980s, Andre Rieu took a decisive step in shaping his artistic future by forming his own orchestra. Rather than conforming to established classical structures, he envisioned a group that prioritized emotional engagement and audience connection. This ensemble was initially small and modest, performing in community spaces and local venues rather than prestigious halls. The philosophy behind this orchestra was simple but transformative. Music should be experienced, not observed from a distance. Performances were designed to encourage emotional participation rather than silent formality. This approach stood in contrast to traditional expectations of classical concerts, where restraint and separation between performer and audience were the norm. Over time, this vision developed into a more structured orchestra that retained its emotional core while expanding in scale. The group began performing larger works and eventually developed into a full touring ensemble. Despite growth, the guiding principle remained consistent. Music should create joy, connection, and shared experience. Behind this development was also strong organizational and creative support from his partner, who helped manage logistical and structural aspects of the growing ensemble. Together, they shaped not only performances, but the broader direction of the project. This period was essential in defining Andre Rieu's identity as more than a violinist. He became a musical architect, building experiences rather than simply performing compositions. His approach challenged traditional boundaries and gradually began attracting audiences who had previously felt excluded from classical music. Global recognition and cultural impact. Andre Rieu's international breakthrough came when his performances began reaching audiences far beyond traditional classical circles. One of the most defining moments occurred during a large-scale public performance in the mid-1990s, where orchestral music was presented in a stadium environment. Instead of silence and formality, audiences responded with movement, participation, and visible emotion. This moment symbolized a shift in how classical music could be experienced. Rather than being confined to elite cultural spaces, it was now being embraced as a shared emotional event. This approach resonated strongly with audiences around the world, leading to widespread popularity and commercial success. Albums and recordings reached top charts, and concerts began filling arenas rather than concert halls. However, this popularity was not without criticism. Some traditionalists questioned the informal and theatrical nature of his performances. Despite this, audience response remained overwhelmingly positive, suggesting a deeper cultural shift in how people wanted to engage with classical music. Andre Rieu's impact extended beyond performance style. He contributed to a broader reimagining of classical music as emotionally accessible and inclusive. His work encouraged new audiences to engage with orchestral music without fear of formality or exclusion. In doing so, he helped expand the cultural relevance of a genre often considered static or inaccessible. Challenges, criticism, and the pressure of reinvention. As Andre Rieu's popularity expanded globally, so did the scrutiny surrounding his artistic choices. His approach to classical music, designed to be celebratory, accessible, and emotionally expressive, did not align with the expectations of traditional classical institutions. While audiences embraced his performances with enthusiasm, segments of the classical community viewed his style as controversial, arguing that it blurred the boundaries between high art and popular entertainment. This tension placed him in a unique position. On one hand, he was celebrated by millions who found in his concerts a rare sense of emotional inclusion. On the other, he was questioned by purists who believed classical music should remain formal, restrained, and intellectually distant. Rather than retreating from this criticism, Rieu continued to refine his vision, maintaining that emotional accessibility was not a dilution of art, but a restoration of its original purpose. The pressure of sustaining large-scale productions also introduced practical and emotional challenges. Touring orchestras of significant size required constant coordination, financial stability, and creative consistency. Each performance demanded not only artistic precision, but also logistical mastery. Behind the scenes, there was little of the effortless joy audiences experienced on stage. Instead, there was discipline, responsibility, and continuous problem-solving, legacy, reflection, and artistic philosophy. As Andre Rieu's career matured, his legacy became defined not only by musical output, but by cultural transformation. He demonstrated that classical music could evolve without losing its identity, and that emotional connection could be as important as technical precision. His concerts became spaces of shared joy, where audiences from different backgrounds could experience music collectively. Central to his philosophy is the belief that music should communicate directly with people, bypassing barriers of tradition or formality. This belief shaped every aspect of his career, from orchestral arrangement to performance style. It also influenced how he structured his ensembles and interacted with audiences, always prioritizing emotional engagement. Beyond music, his journey reflects themes of independence, resilience, and creative courage. He built a career that did not rely solely on tradition, but expanded it, adapting it to contemporary emotional needs. This adaptability is part of why his work continues to resonate globally. Today, Andre Rieu is recognized not just as a performer, but as someone who redefined how classical music can exist in the modern world. His legacy lies in making centuries-old compositions feel alive, immediate, and deeply human for millions of people.